with us on this afternoon program on the 4th day of June 2018. We'll go back to LeBron, and if you wish, the Cavaliers and Golden State. That a little bit later on. Listen, I can't analyze video for 45 minutes when a guy scores 51 points in a series they weren't going to win anyway. In an overtime, they were not going to win anyway. And, figure out through body language who he's more mad, upset about. It's Lou, JR, or George Hill. If Steve Torrey wants to do that, have at it. That I am not going to do for 7 hours today, breaking down LeBron's body language in a video in an NBA final that's lost its steam. We will spend some time on other things in this next couple of hours and back to the NBA when we have to. Let's start here for a sec on the hockey, which has been a much better theater than, for the most part, the NBA has been. Obviously, a lot less watchers. We can get a rating. Maybe the last couple days, we can get a rating from last night's NBA in Game 3 of the hockey, where the Capitals win that third game on Saturday night. I did not see this game into the third period, where they did a very, very good job, got themselves a lead at 2-0. Then they scored a goal after a bad play by Hopi, made it 2-1. They got that third goal on a great individual effort. They have throttled the Vegas transition game very, very well, how they're doing that. I'm assuming getting out of their own end quickly, which obviously affects the neutral zone. Kuznetsov played, scores a goal. Ovechkin is due. He's the best player on the ice. They have sort of, Fleury played well the other day, but he did give up 3 goals, so he's not standing on his head like he has in the past. They have gotten a Fleury. Fleury has not been a difference maker in this series so far. I mean, Hopi, was a difference maker specifically because of that one save. Fleury has not been a difference maker. He was a difference maker in the other series, the Kings and Winnipeg specifically. He has not been a difference maker here. He's been a good goalie, but he hasn't been a special goalie, and the Capitals don't seem to be too wrapped up in his aura, whether he's a Penguin or a Knight, and they've obviously had they've scored some goals. They've scored 10. They have scored 14 goals against them in 3 games. That's a lot of goals. For the first game, then they had 10 goals, not 14. Then they had 3 and 3. The games that's more than 3 goals a game. And in a cup final, you're scoring more than 3, and scoring more than 3 goals a game, you got a good chance to win a series. And that's where Washington is right now. Now, listen, this is a scenario as we've discussed. Vegas has not been in this spot throughout its postseason. I know they made a big deal about it on the off day. Well, we lost the first game to Winnipeg. We were in trouble there. Well, they had lost the first game to Winnipeg, but they that was on the road. They hadn't played a home game yet. They wasn't like they lost the home ice in the first game. They lost a road game at Winnipeg in the first game of round 3. There's plenty of time to recover from losing. Washington lost game 1 to Pittsburgh, lost game 1 to Columbus, and still won a series. And they lost those games at home. So if that's Vegas, and that's what Vegas is trying to tell you, well, we were in this spot. No, they weren't. They have not been in a situation where they have trailed halfway through or deep in a series. And that's where Vegas is right now. They led 2-1 on San Jose. They obviously killed the Kings, and they won 4 in a row against the Jets. Now they trailed 2-1. They've lost 2 in a row. This is the first time they have lost 2 in a row in a postseason. Let's throw that into the mix here as well. The 2 games they lost to San Jose was games 2 and 4. They lost game 1 in Winnipeg, and they lost game now 2 and 3. So Vegas is in a little different scenario right now. They have lost to 2 games straight, and this is the first time that they have been forced to win a game in the postseason. They did not have to win a game in Winnipeg, those first 2. They needed to win a game in San Jose after they were after it was a split in the first 2, but they did that right away. They have to win tonight. If Vegas doesn't win tonight, they're not going to win the series. There's only been one time in a Stanley Cup final where a team came from 3-1, and in this case it was 3-0 down to win a Stanley Cup. That was in 1942, Leafs and Wings. It's been a long time. So if they don't win tonight, they are going to try to do something that's only been done once in 32 previous Stanley Cup finals, and that has come from 3-1 or 3-0 down to win a series. So this is a must-get for Vegas tonight. I don't know what the answer would be for them. They scored first in game 2 and still lost, so I can't say that's it. They have obviously scored first a lot in the postseason. When they do, they usually win. Not in game 2. They've had trouble on the power play a little bit. They have not had a lot of success against the Washington defense. Washington looks bigger than they do. Washington's hit the body well than hit more of a body. They would have been shut out the other night if, in fact, Hopi didn't make a terrible error and almost cost his team a chance because he had a terrible clearing play and that resulted in basically an empty net, which is a big mistake. Hopi's played really well, so we'll give him that. But that was a big mistake. I don't know exactly what the formula for Vegas would be tonight that I can pinpoint for you. I don't know what they can do tactically to make this a different kind of game. I don't quite know that, how they can do that. Now, the Capitals, they have done a nice job. The Capitals in closeout games have done a nice job. They won Game 7. They won Game 6 in Pittsburgh. They won Game 6 in Columbus. This is not a closeout game, but the Capitals have done a couple things here in this postseason that you like. Number one, they have done a very good job of recovering from some, pressure situations and some drama. Obviously, first two games, Columbus. Game 1, Game 3, Pittsburgh. Down 3-2, Tampa. So they've done that. They've won, some games they've had to have. They had to have the games 3 and 4 against the Blue Jackets. They got them both. They certainly had to win 2 against Tampa. They got those 2. And they had to win a game against Pittsburgh, and they got that one. So they've won those games. And the other thing they've done is they've done pretty well when they've had a chance to put the hammer down. They had a chance to put the hammer down against Pittsburgh in Game 6, yes, in overtime. They had a chance to put the hammer down in Columbus in Game 6 that won easy. And they obviously had a chance to put the hammer down in Game 7 against Tampa, and Tampa didn't get up to breathe. So they've done a nice job there. I think, to me, from afar, it looks like a Washington year, to me. Now, things can turn on a dime in this postseason, but I would make the argument right this minute, and watch me jinx it, and I want Washington to win. I can make an argument right this minute that Vegas has finally hit their kryptonite. That's the argument. They've been outplayed, and Vegas easily could have lost the first game. They got a goal thanks to the officiating, which tied it in the third period. They easily could have lost Game 1. Easily. And by the way, excellent job by NBC on Game 3 Saturday night. When the kid scored the goal, Pelly, when he scored the goal to make it 3-1, they immediately went to the mistake he made in Game 1, which gave the Vegas the advantage on the pass in front of the net for the easy put away that made the game 5-4. And Pelly made a mistake of not being able to keep the puck or get the puck out of the end. It went over his stick and he missed, and then he slammed the stick against the board and he went onto the bench. He was really distraught, and they went right to that after he scored the goal the other day, which I thought was very significant. Let's get Scott in Tampa in, and then we're going to get Eddie Olczyk in. But Scott in Tampa wants to do the hockey. He first. Scotty, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What do you have for me?
Well, I really wanted to do LeBron, but the thing I'll mention about the hockey, Christian, you said it. It's been much more entertaining. Now, look, if Vegas doesn't win tonight, we could be a short series. So I think if you're looking for some length and some drama, Vegas has to win tonight. Otherwise, it could be over quickly. That's what I would say about the hockey.
Well, 100%. Vegas has to win a game tonight. I think the Capitals might even win Game 5. See, I think even if the Capitals lose tonight, I like them in Game 5. I think they could win Game 5. Game 5 in Vegas. They're better than Vegas. No, they're better. They have better star power. Their goalie has been neutralized. They're better than Vegas right now in this series. They're better.
Okay, and here's the thing on the basketball. Really, a couple of quick points, Chris. First of all, I still can't believe we're going back to Game 1 and talking about LeBron's pass to George Hill. It's not like he passed to a guy who was 30 feet away from the hoop. He was passing it to a guy who, if he wasn't fouled by Klay Thompson, was under the basket for a layup. It's not LeBron's fault that a 10-year veteran who shoots 80% from the line urinated himself on the line. That's the first thing.
I agree.
And then the second thing, Chris, is I still can't believe we're talking about LeBron and body language. This team is comparable to Michael Jordan when Michael Jordan had Orlando Woolridge and Dave Corzine and Craig Hodges. Not when Michael Jordan in 96, 97, 98 had Kerr, Harper, Rodman, Kukoc, and Pippen. LeBron has never had that kind of supporting cast, not even close to that. Yeah, not even close.
100%. You can't. Analyzing body language when they're outmanned is really, that's fool's gold. Did I like what I saw in the huddle? No, but you know what? They were going to lose the game anyway. And there was nothing he was going to do after the regulation got away from the Cavs in game one. Nothing he was going to do in those next 5 minutes that was going to solve Golden State. Golden State, and Golden State, what they did is they took advantage of that, and it had a carryover for last night. That overtime was a direct result. The first period last night was a direct result of that great overtime they had on Thursday night. Here's Eric in Long Island. He's got a chance. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Eric, good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm doing good, dog. Listen, on the hockey, dog, I agree with you. I think Vegas is in trouble. You got to remember, they're about 100 games in right now, counting the regular season. This is a group that's playing together for the first time. First time as a group that they're facing adversity. I mean, they've never had to go through this before. Down 2-1, having to win a game on the road. There's a lot of mojo going with the Capitals. See, to me, what the Capitals have done in this series, they've completely taken away the transition game of Vegas. They've neutralized the speed. The top line of Russo, William Karlsson had 43 goals in the regular season, a great playoffs leading up to the Cup final. They've taken him out. Riley Smith, that top line has not produced. Outside of a power play goal early in game one, they neutralized the Vegas power play. I mean, Vegas right now, dog, they're inserting a kid, Thomas Tatar, into the lineup tonight. Actually, I shouldn't call him a kid. He had 4 goals in 3 games against the Capitals in the regular season, with the Red Wings and Vegas. So they're trying to get a little bit more speed in the lineup tonight. But I'll tell you right now, I'll bring up the face-off circle right now as well, dog. You're going to look at me. Why is he bringing up face-offs? The Capitals have been so dominant in the face-off circle. They start a lot of the offensive zone with the puck as well as the defensive zone. Vegas is not winning and carrying the puck as much as they have in the previous 3 series. And I think that's playing into the Capitals' hands. And the neutral zone play is fantastic. And when Hope's had to make the big saves like he did in Game 2,
right,
that's why they're up 2-1 right now. And you're right. Fleury's played well. I give Fleury a lot of credit. He played well in Game 3. That could have been easily 6-1 with the amount of chances the Capitals had. But he hasn't stolen a game yet. If they're going to win tonight, I think he's going to have to be the difference maker. 42 saves, 35 saves, a 2-1 road win, gut it out type of thing. But, you got to give the Capitals credit. I mean, what they've shown in this playoffs right now has been remarkable, and I think they got a lot of mojo going. And, listen, I'll probably jinx it myself, but I think the Capitals right now, their series to lose. I'd be surprised if Vegas actually comes back and wins this down 2-1. You know that?
I agree with you 100%. I wonder if Eddie Olczyk agrees. He's got the game tonight. He's done a great job in the booth, and he says hello on a busy show. Eddie, good to talk. How are you today, pal? Okay?
Hey, Mad Dog. Great to be with you, pal. Thank you.
First off, how do you feel? You feel good?
Feel great. Best time of year. Pucks and ponies. No better time of year, Mad Dog.
We'll get to the pony in a second. I got to ask you a question on that before we let you go. All right, Eric in Long Island just made that point, and I happen to agree with him. I think right now Vegas, they may have hit an abutment. I think the Capitals have a lot of mojo, a lot of momentum. You can make the argument they should be up 3-0 in this series. They got a bad core there in Game 1. I think it's a very tall task for the Golden Knights now to come back and win the Stanley Cup. What's your take on that first?
Well, I mean, I don't argue that point where it easily could be 3-0. But you got to take advantage of the breaks that you get, or you take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves, and that's what happened in Game 1. You're right. There should have been a penalty on Ryan Reeves before he tied up the game at 4, and then Lars Eller missed an empty net when the goaltender was out at 5-4. But give Washington a lot of credit. I mean, they figured out that they have to play a certain way. And they got to check first. It can't be a trade chances, wide open game. Now, can they win an 8-7 game? Yeah, they can, because they got guys that can be able to do it. But they've proven throughout these playoffs is that if they're going to win and they're going to give themselves a chance, even maybe when they don't play their best hockey, Doug, they're going to have to check. And that's what's happened here the last couple of games. Vegas has gone 2 stretches, I think, in this series to this point, somewhere in that 9-minute plus range 2 different times in the last couple of games where they didn't get a shot on goal. So that tells me that the Capitals are doing what they need to do without the puck. But look, Eric touched on it. Fleury, he has the ability to go ahead and win one of those games 2-1. That they're going to need him to be, I don't want to say perfect, but pretty darn close to perfect if they give themselves any chance, because there's no question in my mind this is a must-win tonight for Vegas
Oh, no,
win the series. To win the series.
To win the series. I completely agree. Do you think have to win? Do you believe in this mojo? I mean, the Capitals have had a lot of trial and error here, a lot of tribulation they've had to deal with in the postseason. Vegas has not had that. They haven't lost two games in a row. Until this series, they didn't lose two games in a row. They never had to win an elimination game. They never really, unless you want to go Game 5 San Jose, they never really were in a scary situation. Capitals have been in nothing but those scary situations for 2 months.
Yeah.
Vegas has not been. I think that plays into this a little bit. What's your take on that for tonight?
Yeah, I would agree with you, Dog, 100%. Pretty much for Vegas, it's been all season long. It's been into the playoffs, them dictating the terms, teams chasing them, teams feeling the pressure by playing a first-year team in the National Hockey League. You're right. This is really the first pothole or blemish, whatever verbiage you want to use, that they've seen in these playoffs. And the last couple of games, I mean, like I said, for long stretches, they've just looked out of sorts. And look, it's going to happen, but it's the playoffs, and all it takes is one play. Is it a save? Is it a goal? Is it a big hit? Does somebody get hurt? I mean, you just never know when the tide's going to turn. And Dog, and we've talked over the last handful of years when you've had me on. To me, is when you have the momentum in the National Hockey League, especially come playoff time, is what do you do with the momentum? How do you take advantage of it? Are you able to put points on the board? Are you able to put a crooked number up there? And when you don't have it, everybody says, well, you got to get it back on your side. Well, first off, you got to stop the momentum that's coming at you. And right now, Wash has all the momentum. So for Vegas, it's get off to a good start. The verbiage inside that locker room will be even or ahead after one, meaning let's be tied, or let's have the lead going in, and let's put a little bit of pressure, and let's try to just win the first period. And yeah, you're talking about winning the game, absolutely, but I think it has to be the game within the game, Dog. Small games. Win the first period, win the second period, and chip away from there. And it'll be really interesting to see how they're able to respond. But I do believe in that mojo. You were there, Dog, in '94, following the team that I was on with the New York Rangers when we won the Stanley Cup. And look, obviously a lot different situation. I mean, we were the best team in the league in the regular season. We felt we were the best team going into the playoffs, and we really didn't have any adversity until we got down in round 3 to the New Jersey Devils, where we got down 3 games to 2 going into Jersey. So, again, the true colors of someone or some team out when things are great, because everybody can be a good guy and a good team when things are going great, but you really show what the hell you're made of is when things are tough. And for Vegas right now, they're only down 1 game, and yeah, they were only down 2-1 in the third period in Game 3, but they got to find their game and find their game quickly, and that's all has to do with their skating game in the offensive zone.
Yeah, the only problem I have with that 2-1 Game 3, it should have been 2-0. I mean, Hopi made a bad mistake.
Sure. But again, dog. But hey, that's what happens, right? I mean, look, so sometimes a quarterback will try to force something on his own, 25-yard line. Next thing you know, a team runs it in, and now they're within a 1-possession game. So those things happen. Give Vegas credit. They pressured the goaltender. He tried to make a fancy play. It wasn't there. It ended up in the back of the net. And even in that game 3 early, Dog, Vegas had a couple of odd man situations they did not cash in. And again, what do you do with the momentum when you got it? They weren't able to cash in and give Washington all the credit, because when they play their best right now is they're checking. They're not scoring. Yeah, you're going to score, but I think people should understand is it's all about how they play without the puck, not necessarily how they play with it.
All right, how about Ovechkin? Let me get a little rundown. I know he's a much better defensive player. Where is he? A lot of times he lost. He was unlucky. Where is he? Lundqvist or the Penguins or whatever. Where has he improved so much here so far in 2018?
I mean, I think it's been the last couple of years, Dog. I think he has become a very responsible player, 200-foot, learning to play without the puck. And I think what's happened here the last couple of years, and this goes with experience and this goes with age and the style of play, is I think he's much more selective. I talked a lot about that on our NBC broadcasts over the last couple of years, is that he's much more selective on his physical play. He's not looking, he's always looking for contact, but I think he's much more selective. And when you're much more selective and you're a goal scorer and an offensive guy, which you're looked upon to do that, and he has done that in spades this year in the playoffs, is that he saves his energy a little bit more than maybe he did when he was a little bit younger. You know what I mean, Doug? Like, he's just much more selective physically,
right?
And I think it has helped his all-around game.
Picks his spots.
He's not a exactly. Yeah, he's he's not afraid to look to run you in at about the 10th row, and he has that ability. But I just think that he is stopping and starting a little bit more in his game. He's always been this player that gets excited whether he scores or somebody else on his team scores. He's always been that type of a team guy. So it's great to see how well he is playing. I mean, him and Kuznetsov have been absolutely incredible together playing on the same line. But just to me, I think it's the all-around game and being much more selective, or like you said, picking his spots on when to be physical and saving some of that energy for the most important part of his game, and that's the offense.
And what are they going to do with Trotz if they win a cup? They have to bring him back, are they not?
Well, I mean, it's happened in the past, and I lived it in New York in '94 when Iron Mike was dealing and wheeling and dealing during the Stanley Cup playoffs of trying to get out of New York, and we won the cup, and he was in St. Louis the next year. He actually tried to go to Detroit. That fell apart. St. Louis took him. It's happened. Trotzy's done an amazing job. I mean, they've underachieved the last couple of years. This year, I think I would say they overachieved, even though that they won the division. They had a good year. I don't think they had a great year. But think about what he's been able to get this team to do, especially go back to round one, the first 2 games at home. They lost both games to Columbus. Everybody thought they were done like dinner. And Ovechkin said, hey, we're going to go to Columbus, win a couple of games. They won 4 straight, and they win a Game 7 in Tampa. So it'll be really interesting. Right now, I mean, I don't have a feel. I really don't. But I know there'll be a few coaches in the National Hockey League that if Barry Trotz does not come back to Washington, I'm sure there'll be a few guys that would be a little shaky in their position because Barry Trotz has proven to be one of the top coaches we've had in the league for a long, long time.
Before I do the horse racing quickly, if Vegas wins tonight, is this again a dead-even series, or they restore the edge with 2 out of 3 at home?
I thought it was going a distance. I just thought I gave the edge to Washington at the start, dog, just because of their checking ability and, kind of the resiliency that they've had, and know that there was going to be some sort of an up and down come Stanley Cup final time. But, look, I just think that if Vegas can find a way to win this game here tonight, I don't think there's any distance that will be going to Vegas for a Game 7.
Oh, you do? All right. Now, 2 things.
If Vegas wins tonight.
If Vegas loses tonight, Washington's going to win Game 5. What do you think of that?
I would not argue that.
And why is it, Eddie? You have it in a lot of other rounds. Why in the Stanley Cup final are the numbers so stark once the team wins 3 games and they're up 3-0 or 3-1? 31 out of 32 or 32 out of 33, those teams, only the 42 Leafs, have been able to withstand a 3-1 or a 3-0 deficit. It's happened a lot more than that in the previous rounds, but not in the Stanley Cup final. How come that's the case?
Yeah, you know what? It's a fair question. I mean, the only thing that I can really think would be is just, I mean, you're so demoralized, dog. I mean, I just know that, look, again, I go back to my experience in '94 with the Rangers. We had a 3-1 lead coming back home to win the Stanley Cup in Game 5, and we got off to a brutal start. I think we gave up 3 goals in the first 8 or 9 minutes. We got to tie. We got to even at 3-3 and eventually lost. Then we flew to Vancouver and played our worst game of the season, maybe, and we got our heads handed to us, and we had an extra day off, came back, won Game 7 at home. But I just think sometimes, teams may just get so discouraged that the other team knows they got them on the run. They're going to play a certain way. And look, as you know, especially in hockey, maybe even more so than any other sport, the home ice, there's not as much of a home ice advantage as there used to be because all the rinks are same. The teams pretty much play the same way, whether they're at the home or on the road. But I just think that, the team that is down just gets so down, literally, and you have a tough time of showing up for that next game. The will's there, the want's there, but sometimes the money makers aren't.
All right, 2 things on the horse racing. After he won the Derby, I thought I was looking at a Secretariat type of horse, and then so I thought this thing's going to win a Triple Crown. Then after the Preakness, I said the exact opposite. The way he finished and the fact that it's a mile and a half, I don't think he's going to win Saturday. What's your take on Justify for the Belmont in 6 days?
Couldn't disagree with you more on the Belmont. I think that this horse. Look at my experience as a horse player and a handicapper, dog, when it comes to races of distance, a mile and a half. It's a mile and a half that turns into a half a mile race. It really does. Because the first mile, in my opinion, you're getting position.
You're jogging. You're jockeying for position, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, without a doubt. And obviously it does become a jockey's race because you're going that far and you can't push the button too early to me, this extra week off it bodes extremely well for Justify. He's so much bigger than his competition. He recovers a lot quicker than a lot of these horses. Again, it's a horse race. You never know what's going to happen. But for me, I can't look past the favorite. And look, a lot of people like yourself after the Preakness thought or feel that he's very vulnerable coming off the Preakness win. And I believe that they could have went another 70 yards or 7,000 yards. Bravazzo, tenfold. Nobody was going by that horse. I think Mike Smith wrapped up, knew exactly when he put Good Magic away. So for me, I just think that this horse is the real deal. He'll be able to get. If you want to go mile and 3/4, he'll go mile and 3/4. I just think he's the real deal, and we're going to see history again, the second time in 4 years.
And the other thing that really bothers me, if you're a Winstar, Audible has to run this race. I think that is a disgrace. I think, to me, don't tell me Tal Pletcher doesn't want to run a horse. He runs 1 million horses in all these events, so that's got nothing to do with it. I think that's listen, I don't know enough about Audible to sit there and say this is going to tarnish a Triple Crown, but and I know it's tricky. Winstar's got to be out there, and Winstar's got to put Audible out there, and they won't, and I think that's very bad for the sport. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, look, if we put ourselves in those shoes and we have that situation where you're lucky enough to have, look at Audible is a really, really good horse, dog. Like, he really is. He had a tough trip in the Derby and came running up the rail and just got beat. It jumped to Good Magic to finish second. He ended up finishing third. But we've seen this. It happens, and I don't think there's any of us is that if we own both of those horses and we knew Audible could be a real serious threat to take down a possible Triple Crown. Because, look, at the end of the day, dog, it's about one thing, right? It's about money, and it's about breeding. So, look, they've said that he's banged up a little bit. You can take that for what it's worth.
No way.
But for me, I agree with you 1,000%. I would love to see Audible
and you know
in
what?
This race.
It's not about – this is the Belmont. This race is about history. This race is – I don't care how much – Winstar's got billions. I don't care how much money he has. The average fan doesn't care. I want to see if this horse is going to do something in what 13 or 14 others have done. Go against the best. Audible's a hell of a horse. Let the horse run the race. That part.
I'm with you 1,000%. But again, I will go back to being in those shoes and sitting there going, "There's no way, regardless of how much money or whatever you got. I mean, the history is on the line, and I don't think, you're sitting there. I'm sitting there and going, okay, well, my 1A horse just took down an opportunity for us to win the Triple Crown. But I would love to see it because you're right. It is awesome for the game. It'd be great for the game, and Audible deserves to be in there. But we'll take their word for it and see what happens moving down the road. Don't forget about that horse down the road, though. I'm telling you, Audible is going to be a serious contender as this season and moving into the next couple of years.
Eddie, good game tonight. Thanks for coming on Game Day. Appreciate you coming on here today, pal.
Anytime, dog. See you.
Eddie Olczyk, thoughts, Game 4 tonight. Now, I happen to be in the car as we switch gears, and boy, is he feeling good. I remember, he's a proud papa. He loves Babchek, and it's Babchek's show.
Oh, yeah.
It's not Evan's show. You can get a mannequin to do that.
Yeah,
Evan's got to set him up, and he's got to, he has to allow Babchek to be creative and a little nutty, and Evan does a good job doing that. So we're not going to take that away. But it's Babchek.
No, you can't take that away.
It's Babchek's deal. It's everybody who came to that show the other day, came to that little Falcon event, did not come for Evan. They came for Babchek. I mean, that's a sort of
a little Falcon event.
And I spoke to some people, 43 Sirius XM employees, and 53 who flew in via the from, say you had 100, which, hey, listen, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's all accurate totals, 100%.
But you is
43 Sirius employees. That would have been something.
Well, Joan Chin.
That would have exceeded like the Christmas party if it was that many.
Joan Chin and Jared Fox and
Jared Fox works. He was working.
Well, it counts as part of the Sirius. Eddie and Bill and yourself.
That's good.
Lauren Torrey, Steve Cohen. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But the bottom line is
one person missing from that list, though.
You don't need me at that event. That's their event. They've done a great job of establishing.
Maybe if you were there, we can up the total to maybe like 120 next year. That'd be something, huh?
No, I don't think I'm required to do that, to be honest with you. I know you think I should be there. I think I'm not required. Now, but that's getting away from the overall point.
Yeah.
You were as tipsy. I heard you with Al about the pizzas, and he delivered you one. And remember, it's easy enough to find them with the Indian series a couple years last year. But boy, you were tipsy when I heard it about 5:15 in the afternoon.
Far from it. I was playing along. I did the Dave Portnoy pizza review, which you were a part of, as a matter of fact.
4.8.
You should have understood that.
4.8. I heard it.
Yeah.
4.8. No, but you were
Which is a great segment, by the way.
But you were really feeling very good about yourself on Saturday.
Why shouldn't I?
We had a couple cocktails. You had your lovely missus there.
That's right.
You are the creative director of the Mike Babchek show.
That's right.
So you feel good about that. You're proud papa. You got your boss there, Steve Cohen, who's into it. So there's a lot of ingredients to why you had one too many, but that seemed like you may have had one too many when I had the radio on at 5:15 Saturday.
I was having a good time. Had nothing to do with one too many. I was having a good time. As you said, you stated everything accurately there, except for the fact that I was quote-unquote tipsy.
Oh, so you were not tipsy. All right,
No.
very good. And
I was enjoying myself.
do you have a special moment that I need to know about? A special Falcon moment on Saturday, which was somewhat revealing, which is fun. Do I have anything that's interesting?
There were far too many moments.
I
wouldn't even know where to begin, Chris.
I know Gronkowski's girlfriend was there.
Camille, the lovely Camille Kostick.
And I did hear about Babchek's wife at a Denny's down in Georgia, whatever it was, which was not.
That was a long time ago.
Which was not afternoon listening with children in the car.
There were children in the car?
But I mean,
which children would that be?
Or Molly Russo, I might add, but who's 80.
Come on.
But I mean, I'm not too sure if that's what, as I used to say to you all the time, they're not going to come to my kitchen table with that kind of language. That sort of thing.
What language? There wasn't any harsh language.
Oh, come on, Steve. That was a little rough. We're learning about Mrs. Babchek. But the bottom line is, it seemed like there was some special moments. Is there one specifically for you?
Like I said, there's way too many positive moments. I can't even keep track.
Pick one.
One great moment from the event?
Yes.
The great Ed Henry was there from Fox News.
And I give Cannell credit for showing up.
No, honestly, all kidding aside, Danny was great.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
Danny was great, connected with everybody, took the time to talk.
Is there a special radio moment, or is there a special thing I need to know about?
No. Here's the thing about when you're there and the event is going on, you actually forget that they're actually doing a live broadcast because it's really a party. It's a listener party, and they got to do a radio show, which, it might not translate to, in your eyes, great radio because you're
But I
at an event.
understand that. It's about a party. It's not about the show.
So,
I'm not silly, Stephen. I do get it.
I'm glad you were able to.
But I'm asking you for a specific moment. You said that Ed Henry was great and Cannell was great. Is there a particular moment that you found interesting? That's my question.
Well, I gave you 3 or 4 highlights. Camille Kostick was there. Larry Longballs was there. Danny Cannell was there. We had Ed Henry there. We had several little ceremonies that went on during the course of the day. We acknowledged all the fouls. I think that's about covers it.
Now, someone made off, Chris, you'll like this. Someone made off with the Whack Shack sign. That's gone.
Oh, the Whack Shack.
It disappeared. Is that right, Eddie?
Yeah, someone made off with that.
So the Whack Shack got knocked around there.
Yeah, if you will, yeah.
All right, so that's out. All right. Anything? Are we going to have a 4th annual? Or this was the 4th annual? No, this is the 3rd.
Yeah.
We're going to have a 4th annual?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
At the same.
I don't know. Too early to tell.
I would hope so.
Might take it on the road next time.
Great venue.
Did they have food?
Well, there's plenty of food there.
Did they serve food for free?
No, they did not.
Could you get a cocktail?
Of course.
Could I go there for free? Could I walk in there and order a Grey Goose?
Yes, you could have.
For free. Not me, the average fan. Could have walked in there and said, you know what? Grey Goose, pineapple, cranberry at 4:15.
I'm not sure. I was drinking beer, so I'm not sure.
They had a great beer selection, by the way, for the fan.
Again, I don't drink beer. Could I have gotten a cocktail?
Yes, you could have.
For free?
You could have, yes.
A foul member, could he or she gotten it for free?
If they talk to the right person. Right. Good one, Eddie.
Okay.
They talk to the right people.
All right, very good.
Well, you're always trying to find something to knock, aren't you? What did you say to Babchick this morning? Now, did you get any coverage, a TV coverage, Channel 5 there? Yeah, who cares? Jeez. This is about having fun with their audience, which we connected with, and it was a fantastic, fun-filled afternoon.
But you would agree?
I would not agree.
Like some
Whatever it is you're saying, I'm not agreeing.
Well, you'd like to get some publicity to add more to Foul Nation.
Yeah, well, it's growing by leaps and bounds.
Was Rolling Stone magazine there to chronicle? Was EEI in Boston to chronicle with Gronkowski's girlfriend? Was the was IndieWire there? Was New York Daily News there? Was there a blogger there? Was Entertainment Tonight
we had to turn all those people away.
You did.
Yes.
All right, there you go. All right, anything else?
About the event?
Yes.
Other than the fact that it was fantastic? No.
And Bill, I noticed Bill didn't come to work today. Was there something that Bill ate or drank that got in the way?
I guess I'll have to answer that tomorrow when he returns.
Did he go with the guacamole again?
I don't know. I don't know what. I didn't see Bill eat that much, but he was drinking. He was powering down the cold ones.
He was. And what time did you arrive?
I got there around 3:30.
How'd you get in? Train or?
No, Lauren and I drove.
Oh, you drove it?
Mm-hmm.
Who drove you home?
Lauren did.
It wasn't you.
I drove in. Lauren drove home.
Yeah, good. You were in no condition. I heard.
I could have easily driven.
I didn't. That was not the impression I got.
Well, whatever you were told is false information.
You were with the Indiana hat and everything else.
I was wearing. Yes, I was wearing.
And Indiana advanced. And Indiana advanced. So did you?
They lost last night to Texas in the regional final. They had to beat Texas twice. They were down 3-2 in the 8th inning. They had a runner on first. Guy hit a ground rule double, which they had to send the runner back. And then they didn't score, and then they loaded the bases in the 9th.
They beat Texas A&M. They
beat A&M. That was an elimination game. So they lost to A&M. Next day they beat Texas Southern, elimination game. Yesterday they beat A&M. Then they had to beat Texas twice.
Last night and today.
Last night they lost 3-2.
Oh, I didn't get the final score.
They got screwed on the ground rule double, and then they had the bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th with 1 out and did not score.
I saw the 9-0, the outburst in the first inning.
And they hung on for dear life.
9-6 or 9-7.
Yeah.
I saw that on the. I didn't know that. I thought that got him in. So
they had to beat Texas twice. They should have actually won last night. It would have been interesting tonight. Would have been a winner take all, but
not the case. Okay,
good year though.
Very good. The tennis, we know, no Serena.
Iguodala looks like Iguodala's going to probably play.
Oh, Iguodala's going to play game?
Well, let's say he's improving. They haven't made it official, but all indications are. Game 4 Stanley Cup Finals tonight.
Right.
Yankees beat the Tigers 7-4. Severino 9-1, 10 strikeouts.
3-run homer. Torres hit one, Bird hit one. Go ahead.
And so did Austin Romine, who's all of a sudden becoming Mickey Mantle.
He hit a 3-run homer.
5 wins in a row. The Bears did a nice thing with Zach Miller. They signed him to a contract. Remember, he had the dislocated knee and had all those surgeries. So if he's able to play, which he's probably not going to, he'll get almost $800,000, and if he doesn't play, which is probably the case, he'll get a little over $450,000.
Oh, that is a nice.
It's a nice job.
All right, and Nadal won today.
Yes,
Isner lost to Del Potro.
Yeah, straight sets, right?
6-4, 4-4. Cilic won, and he'll play Del Potro. Nadal will play Schwartzman in one quarterfinal, and Wozniacki won. Halep won.
No, didn't she lose? Wozniacki lost.
Wozniacki lost. Right. Halep won.
Right.
The Sharapova advanced. Who else? I forget who else today. But
that covers it.
For the most part. That was a big blow with no Serena. That bothered me.
Yeah, too bad.
What
do you make of the whole thing?
I think she's hurt. Well, why would she avoid Sharapova? I saw her Saturday afternoon. She looked good.
But why would she play through the was the doubles yesterday or the day before?
I think the doubles was Sunday. I'm not positive when the doubles was. I think it was Sunday.
Did she try to play through the injury with the doubles?
I can't answer that. I didn't see the doubles. I can tell you when it was, though. Because that gets a lot of juice. I don't know what the story about I don't know. If you're asking me, did the doubles have something to do with her pulling out of the singles? I don't know. When was her doubles match? Let's clarify that so we know.
Yeah, I don't know if it was yesterday or if it was Saturday.
It was. Yes, it was at NBT. It was probably. I don't know that. Let me see if I can find out for you, because that's important, Steve. You raised a very interesting point. Was there doubles in between, or is it the same day? Let me see if I can find out for you. Women's 4th round singles, I don't have. It would maybe be in the New York Times, because they're the ones.
I'm sure we could get it on a computer much easier.
Yeah, right, again,
Eddie's efforting.
Eddie doesn't know there's a tennis. Here we go. Women's doubles yesterday. She lost yesterday. 6-4. Wow, she lost 6-0 in a third set. So she must have been
deteriorating at that point. So why wouldn't he just blow it off and get out? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
unless she thought she could try to play through.
Doesn't want to do that to her sister. I can't answer that. But they lost yesterday 6-0 in a third set, so that must have been a sign. Good boy, Steve. Paying attention.
Thank you, Chris.
Everything else under control?
Everything's good.
Foul Nation. We continue here on Mad Dog Unleashed.